Kia ora, my name's Claire Amos and I am the principal at Albany Senior High School. Now, before being principal at Albany Senior High School, I've actually been a teacher for over 20 years. So I started out my teaching career at Albany, at Rangitoto College here on the North Shore. I'm actually an ex-Rangitoto College student. I taught there for 7 years and I was actually the head of drama. And I was also the assistant HOD of English whilst I was there at Rangitoto College. After Rangitoto College, I went to work at Takapuna Grammar School. I then had the absolute privilege of being the head of English at Auckland Girls Grammar School over in the city. And then I was lucky enough to work at the University of Auckland and went on to work for Epsom Girls Grammar School, where I was, again, a drama teacher and an English teacher and the director of e-learning. And then I went on to go and be one of the foundation deputy principals at Hobsonville Point Secondary School. Now, as an educator, I have been passionate about the idea of creativity, and in particular, the idea of creativity in the classroom. And I have believed from day one that it is absolutely essential that if you are going to teach students effectively, if you're going to make them love the subject that you're delivering, you're going to inject an element of creativity into that work. In terms of how I define the idea of creativity, I would like to use the words of the world-renowned educator and specialist, Ken Robinson. He talks about the concept of creativity as, not being the opposite of discipline and control. So we often think about being disciplined or creative. It isn't the opposite. On the contrary, he talks about creativity in any field, including deep factual knowledge and high levels of practical skill. Cultivating creativity is one of the most interesting challenges for us as a teacher. And it also involves understanding the real dynamics of creative work. And he talks about this idea that creativity is not a linear process. So it is not about learning all the necessary skills before we get started. It's about thinking about things in different ways. So creativity is about new ideas and new knowledge and having different perspectives. Now, today I'm talking about why creativity is important to you as a student leader. Now, early in my career, when I became an HOD of English, I was in essence a leader of a whole lot of different English teachers. And what I recognised that if I was going to support them to be the very best they could be, I needed to help them to become as creative as possible. So I'll tell you a little story about how I supported my English teachers to design some incredibly enjoyable and challenging English courses for our students at Auckland Girls Grammar School. I recognised very early on that if I approached the teachers and got them to look at the English curriculum and what all the stuff was that you had to teach in English, and we focused on all the different assessments and tests and tasks that we needed to prepare, it became really formulaic. People thought in terms of little blocks and units of work, and it was sort of like they turned designing their English classes and their English courses into a great big long to-do list. And to be fair, I got the sense that what they were doing was designing some pretty boring English courses. So what I decided to do with my English teachers is I actually encouraged them to throw out the rule book. And we did a really neat exercise, and we ended up doing this exercise each year, where I got the English teachers to imagine that we no longer did any tests in English. We no longer prepared people for exams. In fact, all we were being asked to do is make the young people in our classes love English. And we were encouraged to actually indulge in all of the reasons why we became an English teacher and why we loved the subject of English. What was it that we loved about the poetry or the plays or the books or the films that we were going to study? And I got them to forget about the idea of school weeks and school terms and exams and tests, and got them to actually draw what the ultimate English class would look like if they had no rules and they had no timetables and they had no exams. And I really challenged them to think as big and crazy and as wacky as possible. And then what we actually did was they designed the ultimate English course, and they designed the course that was going to be the most fun and the most engaging for those students. What we then did is we actually introduced some of those rules back in. So once they had the freedom to dream big and to think outside the square and really throw all of those constraints out of the window, they designed a really cool course. And we took that material and we just went back to, now that we've defined your dream course, you've designed these incredibly creative programs, where in there might we find the opportunity to get them ready for this assessment, this test, this exam? And what we discovered is actually all of it was possible. But what had been standing in their way beforehand is that they'd been thinking about all of the constraints, all of the rules, all of the assessments, all of the tasks, all of the topics, before they were taking the time to really explore what made English come alive and why they loved English and teaching English in the first place. So sometimes it's really important that we consciously throw aside the rule book. We throw aside all of the tests and the exams and the nuts and bolts stuff to one side, and then we design and create the experience that we want young people to have. So for you, as a student leader, when you're thinking about designing an event or preparing for a workshop, or maybe teaching and supporting a group of students, I want you to think about how creative that event can be, and about how you might make the students love the experience. Throw out the rule book. Design your dream scenario. Design your dream event as if money and time and resources were no issue. What is the ultimate event that you might design, or the ultimate workshop, or the ultimate class experience that you would design? And then, and only then, when you have let all of your creative juices flow, come back to what you have to do. So think about first what you want to do, the incredible creative experience that you want the student to experience. And then, only then, come back to what you must do. Because what you will find is actually the must-dos and the stuff that you have to tick off is the easy stuff. The challenge is dreaming big and thinking of something creative and exciting that is going to engage the people that you're working with. So I guess as an experienced leader, I want to share with you that the secret is to sometimes throw away the rule books, to sometimes put to one side all of the stuff that the rule books say we have to do and what we have to get done. Let your creative juices flow. Think about the best experience, the most engaging experience, the most exciting experience, and then come back to what you absolutely must get out of it. Have fun. Break the rules. Not all of the rules, but some of the rules. And in closing, I want to finish with another quote by Ken Robinson. He talks about creativity as putting your imagination to work. It's applied imagination. Innovation is putting new ideas in practice. There are various myths about creativity. One is that only special people are creative. Another is that creativity is only about the arts. A third is that creativity cannot be taught. And a fourth is that it's all to do with uninhibited self-expression. Well, none of this is true. Creativity draws from many powers that we all have by the virtue of being human. So I encourage you, in all of your leadership work you do, Don't forget to be human, and don't forget to have fun. Have an amazing day, and make sure you let those creative juices flow.